We've got a system80a. This is a Jacks 2 Open, not to be confused with Jacks Open, which was the electromechanical version. It's basically the same game, just this is a solid state version of it. So it's system80a. It's never had any ground mods done to it. Has the original data century battery, which we will have to remove. The game is booted. Score displays are on, as we can see, but he says the game doesn't work. So I don't know exactly what it does or doesn't do, but I know the first thing I want to do is the ground mods. What's interesting is here's the little reset board, and it's completely disconnected from here. What this does is it monitors the display lines, and if it sees a display line lock on, it thinks the CPU is locked on, and it issues a reset. What can often happen is these capacitors up here can dry out and the board won't work, and that's why people usually disconnect them. I don't know if I'm going to re-implement that or not. Usually when you get the ground mods, you probably don't really need it. We'll see how it goes. To give you an idea of what that reset board, how it can kind of screw things up when those capacitors dry out, you can see the game was running as in track mode. Now I'm going to hook this board up, put it on there, and how did you hear it? The whole game reset. It did come back on, but there, here it keeps on resetting, and it locked up the game, and there it goes again. Look at that. So obviously there's a problem with that reset board. There it goes again. And again, what usually happens is these capacitors dry out, so that's why somebody had disconnected this. There it goes, it reset again. Here's the original battery. It was look, it's got a date code, 3rd week of 1980. It was just starting to corrode. You can see a little corrosion on the terminals there, and I had to clean it up here with a little sandpaper, and then I'll either clear coat it or put some solder over these just so it doesn't, I'll just use some clear fingernail polish to put over here so that the corrosion doesn't continue. Put some clear fingernail polish on there, and here's my new, I'm going to use a coin style lithium battery. So this one here is the plus, and you can see the board is labeled plus. So what I'm going to do, I got to use a blocking diode because this is not rechargeable and the original was. So I'm going to put the minus terminal in this hole here, and then the plus terminal go in this hole, which connects to nothing. And then on the back of the board, I'll run a diode between that empty terminal and the actual positive lead right here. My battery's installed, the blocking diode's on the back. Check the voltage here. I'm at 292 on the battery. Then I go to where the blocking diode is, and you can see that the voltage goes down a little bit to 275. And then you want to go up to the 5101 RAM, the last pin, pin 22, and check it there, and you should get that same about 275. Oops, there we go. So we know what's powering the RAM, so now it'll save all the high scores and the credits and all that stuff. The bottom panel of the game used these orange 6800 microfarad caps to help convert the 12 volts AC to 12 volts DC. So I replaced that with just a standard 10,000 microfarad cap. It's always a good idea. These orange caps, they suck. You don't want to use them. They always got to get replaced. Now the ground mod's done. First thing I did is I tied this yellow ground strap, just put a screw right through it and tied it to the metal frame of the power supply, because the metal frame of the power supply is like the master ground. That's where everything comes to. Then I ran from the negative lead of this capacitor to the metal frame of the power supply, negative lead on the CPU board of this electrolytic capacitor to the metal frame of the power supply, and then ran a wire from the metal frame of the power supply over to the ground plane right here on the driver board, and that gives us all the ground mods all done. I'm not going to use this board. It's still, even though I replaced the caps, it still acts bizarrely, so I'm just going to run without it. Now we got the ground mods done, it doesn't seem like it's going to be really an issue, and the game is ready to go. Ready to play.